Okay, I have started a screen record. So this is for video 2 iMovie features, and I'm going to create a new project here. We're going to use the same homecoming video. I'm going to click on my little gear here so I can expand that for when I need to get some clips. And we're going to get started here now. Now, first thing we're going to do is do our opening title, and we're going to do something a little, I don't think we've done this before. We're going to put a background in. So we'll click on backgrounds first. Now the top part here is like globes, so that's for like doing a travel thing, like flying from one city to another or something. We're not going to do that in this project, so just ignore the top part. The lower part are just all different backgrounds. That's all it is. So go ahead. I'm going to pick the gradient right here, but pick a background and drag it down. Now mine came in rather big. I realize it defaulted over to the right here, so I'm going to bring it back to something a little more normal. I'm going to do 2 notches in from the right there. And now I have a background. Now I'm going to do the same background for the end. Now we're starting to get into now where it's not just, let's just randomly do titles and or that. We're going to try to make it look a bit professional. So we want to have the same background for our opening title and our closing title. Now for the opening title, we're going to go over to titles, and we're going to go to standard, which is the not standard lower, but just standard like this, and drag that on top of the first title. Now 4 seconds is the default. That's probably a little short, so drag both the background and the title above it out to maybe around 6 seconds. Then to edit the title, you have to double click or click on the purple part on top. So if you click the background, you can't edit the title that way. You have to click on this up here. And then for the first little small line in there, we'll put video 2. And then for the big part here, we'll put iMovie and iMovie. Well, depending on, yeah, I tried to make the I lowercase, but I can't. This title doesn't let you do that, so not a big deal. iMovie features. Okay, because that's literally what we're going to be covering. And down here, you can just put your name. Okay, now while we're here, we may as well do any editing we want to do. So highlight iMovie features. And I usually do an outline. That's the thing that looks like a little circle here. If you want to do a bold, that's optional, or an italic. If you want to leave the font that's built in there, that's fine. If you want to pull down the font menu and pick a different font, that's okay too. When in doubt, try a couple of them out. Probably the sizes are fine. Right now I can't think of a good reason to change the size. You can pick out, do a different color than white for at least this part. The other parts, I don't care if you leave it white, but at least that part. Now remember, when you click on the color here, and you have to have this selected, you got several options of choosing colors. One brings up a box of colored pencils. The next one got the spectrum, and they got some options. Okay, no, there aren't options there. Next one has colors like this, named like red, green, blue, and so forth. And the next one is this little circle. The circle is when you want to really get, have more options. You can literally click anywhere and do any shade of anything. Okay? I don't care which one you use. If you're not sure, try out a couple different colors. Try out a yellow. Try out a... Being it has a dark background, you probably want a fairly light color. You don't want to put a dark color over a dark background. Okay? I'm going to do kind of a light green. Now, like this has happened to me several times lately. I skipped the step of applying. Now, it looks like the little blue check up here is for reset. It's not. Reset is a separate thing. So click on the little blue check to apply it, and then it should look pretty good there. Video 2 iMovie features. Okay. Now, we're going to click on that title. Notice I said title, not background. Do a copy. I do a keyboard shortcut of Command-C. The Command button is right next to the space bar. On a Mac, the keyboard shortcuts are with the Command button. On Windows, are with the Control button. So Command-C. Then put your cursor on top of the end, or what will be the end. Right now it's just another background. And then do a paste, which is Command V. Or you can go to Edit menu and do paste. Now I'm going to have to drag the background out a little bit. Do another 5-6 seconds or thereabout. And line this here up. And I'm going to click here. Now this here I don't want to be the end. I don't even need all three of these. So I'm going to delete the video too at the top. I'm going to change this here to the end. And I don't need my name there. And then I'm going to apply. Now, in this case here, was it absolutely necessary or the end looks the same as the opening? Not really. I mean, I did this more to demonstrate how if you did want to have two titles that looked alike, that's a quick and easy way to have your formatting all done. So you don't, if your goal was these are going to look alike, when you do that, copy and paste and then edit that, it has the exact same formatting, the same font, the same color, the same everything. So that's a quick and easy way to get two slides that look alike. Now we're going to do 4 in the middle, which is going to be our titles, our section titles. So for this here, go back to backgrounds. Now I want all 4 of these to have the same background. Now you do not have to do the same background I do. So I'm going to do mine, let's see here. You can look through these here. I want to do like these really busy ones. That's going to be kind of annoying. Those are, there's a time and a place for those. I want to do like the underwater or some weird ones like that. I look for something that looks a little bit more, now it could be a little unique looking like organic. It could be just a solid color or a gradient. We got a number of gradients here. But we're going to do, let's see here. I think I'll just do tan. No, actually I'll do this gradient yellow. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's not too bad. Okay, so I'm going to, whatever one you do, drag 4 of them down there. So in other words, they're going to end up being 4 different titles. So we want our section titles to all look the same style. They're going to have slightly different text, but they're going to be the same style.
Is he?
Who are you looking? Oh,
the student to do this.
Zach, who's here every single other day, is not here today.
Not here today.
Yeah, sorry about that for the screen recording.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. Now we're going to pick a centered title. You do not have to pick the same one I pick. But I don't want a lower third title. I don't want something funky or too weird. But one of the centered ones. So what could that be? It could be a slide. It could be a split. It could be a chromatic. It could be expand. It could be reveal. It could be focus. It could be pop-up would be okay. Gravity. Just plain old centered would work. Prism would probably work. We'll keep it to that. That's like 4 or 5 rows here of these. I say 4 or 5 rows. Mine is all scrunched together on this computer with the projector. But pick one of those. For something different, I'm going to do focus. And if I don't like it, I can always change it. So I got focus, the centered one like this. I usually don't like fonts like that, but I'll worry about that after I type something. Now I'm going to put on here titles. It's literally going to be titles. Now I don't like this font here. Now if you did the same one and like that font, that's okay. I'm going to look for something a little, maybe like that. And you can always change the size, like if something's too small or something. I don't need it massively big, but I want it a little bit bigger. I'm going to put an outline on it. I'm going to leave the bold. I'm going to hit apply. So there is my first title, and it's going to come in something like that. Okay, I'm going to drag it out to about 5 seconds. Okay, so there's my first one. Now I'm going to click on just the top part, the title part. I'm going to do a copy. I'm going to go here and do a paste. Now again, I need to drag this out a little bit more. And the next section is going to be transitions. Okay. Then you don't even need to copy again because you already copied one of them. So you can put your playhead by the next one, do a paste. We have to drag it out a little bit longer. Now this one here, technically, okay, I used to always call them special effects, but they're not actually called special effects. They're called clip filters. So we're going to do the next one and call it clip filters. And then don't forget to hit the apply or it might go away. And then the last one here, let's see, what did I call that in the Google Classroom? Other features, other features. Because we're going to do a thing together in class. We're going to do a little green screen, picture-in-picture, things like that. Okay, so this one here, we're going to put other features. So this is the framework of our project. We got our opening title, Video 2, iMovie features with our name. We got a section for titles, a section for transitions, clip filters, other features, and the end. Now at this point, I want to put a couple of transitions in. We're going to put a couple of fade to blacks in here. So click on transitions up here at the top. Find your fade to black. Put one after each title. So after each of these titles you created, drag down a fade to black. So when we go out of each of these titles, we're going to go into a fade to black. Even the one at the end, put one at the very end. Now that will change the size of your titles. You know, it takes about a second out of each one. So go ahead and drag them out a little bit here. And you can do that. Okay, now what we're going to do here next is we're going to start our title section. So you click on titles. And you might say, which of these titles are we going to do, Mr. Rio? Which ones do you guys think we're going to do? For titles. We're going to do all of them. Okay? Now, how are we going to do these? Here's what we're going to do. The ones that are a standard center, there's three types of titles in here. I'm going to put them in three categories. One category is standard center. One category is lower third. And another category is miscellaneous, meaning that they're not really just about center. They're not really a lower third. There's something unique. So that'll be in like a category by itself. But we'll start with the lower third titles. So, I mean the center titles. Sorry about that. We got our center titles. So the first one we're going to do slide. We're going to just do it without a background. In other words, we're going to use the default, which is black. So just click on that, drag it down next to your slides, or next to your, actually I realized when we do that, it moved the transition. Well, some of the transitions may get screwed up, we can fix them later. Okay, but I just drag that down here. Drag it out a little bit, because we definitely want it a little bit bigger than, like right now, it knocked it down to 3.5 seconds because of that transition. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to put the transitions in just yet. Okay, so we got our first one here is called slide. What do you think we're going to put for the text here? Slide. Okay, now this one is pretty basic. You don't have to do a lot of editing to it. You can change the font or the color or make it bold or put an outline on it. But we want it to come out, and that's what a slide looks like. Now, if we did all the centered ones with the black background and dragged it down like that, that would be a pretty lame demonstration. Don't you think so? A couple with a black background are okay. But the majority of them we want to put a colored background on. But we don't necessarily want to just put the same color background on all of them. We want to get a little mix. So let's go ahead right now and let's put in, now this is where you can mix up the colored backgrounds and try different ones. Okay, so go ahead and just, let's do 5 to get started with. So bring in 5 different backgrounds next to this. Okay, and so in other words, I just did organic. I skipped curtains for right now. I'm going to do blobs. That's okay, you can do a blob. I'm going to skip underwater for now. I've already used gradients, so I'm going to skip that. I'm going to go to industrial. Okay. I'm going to go to pinstripes. And I'll go to retro. Okay, so I just decided I'll do 5 together there. Now I'm going to go back to titles. Now we're not doing any lower third titles right now. We're doing center titles. So that'll be like every other one here. So we did slide, correct? Okay, I'm going to drag down split and put that on top of the first one after slide. I'm going to skip lower third. I'm going to do chromatic. I'm going to skip chromatic lower third. We'll do all of our lower third separate. I'll do, even though we used standard before, I still want to include it here. So we got standard. And we got expand. I'm doing like every other one. And then we got reveal. Okay. Now some of these you might have to drag the backgrounds out a little bit. Okay, so before I forget which ones I did, which is easy to do, okay, double click on the title here, and probably I should have done these one at a time, but either way, I'll remember it pretty good. This one here is called split. Okay, so I'm going to name it split. Now because it's white on kind of a light color, well, at least I want to do an outline. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to give it a different color. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so what is it going to look like? It's going to look like that. Okay, now this next one here is going to be chromatic. Let's see what it looks like if I don't edit it, because it does have other colors with it. So that one I don't necessarily have to edit. The next one, now when you got 3 lines here, use the big one for standard. You can leave the other ones that just say title text here, because it will demonstrate that if you use that title, you have options for a couple more lines. So that doesn't hurt anything. Question? Okay, I'm doing a screen recording, so I'll just finish this part here and then I'll deal with it, okay? Okay. Now, I think you kind of get where we're going with this. Okay. I could go through right now my other ones here. But here's what you're going to do. You're going to do all the centered ones that are just regular old centered. And you're going to put background behind most of them. I don't mind a couple in black, 2 or 3, but the rest of them should have some type of background. Then what you're going to do, and we probably won't get to this part today, is you're going to go through and find little 4 or 5 second clips from the homecoming video. Like could be stewing section, could be whatever. I'm not even that picky as long as it's a solid clip. Meaning like I don't want you to grab 4 or 5 seconds that part of it's the cheerleaders and it cuts to a football play. You know, pull them from the middle of a football play or the middle of a cheerleaders or the middle of something. But the point of it, you're going to put a lower third title on it. Now, you're not going to put what's in the video in the lower third. You're not going to put cheerleaders in there. You're going to put whatever the name of the lower third is. It's going to be like split lower third, chromatic lower third, and so forth. Okay? So you're going to be doing those. So that'll cover probably 90% of the titles. Be doing either centered or lower third. Centered are going to mostly have backgrounds on them. And you're going to put the name of the title in each one. If there's an extra line in there, just leave it saying add title, add text here, or whatever it says. Okay, so the point of this is when someone watches this, they look through it and they're like, okay, that's what that slide looks, that's what that title looks like. You know, and then the lower third ones all go over video. They're designed to go over video. So you get to see what they look like. And then there's a couple unique ones in here. The unique ones are like closing credits. So we'll do those last. The one that's like a pull focus or a Boogie Nights or lens flare or pixie dust, we can save those for last. Organic main. There's like 5 of them here that kind of got unique effect on it. We'll put those near the end along with closing credits and along with the Star Wars one, which is called Far, Far Away. So we'll do those last 6, 7 together at the end. But right now, focus on your centered ones, just your standard centered ones, and then the lower third ones. And the lower third one should have a video clip. Now, I started doing the centered ones here, and you might say, which would make more sense? Should we put the lower third one next to the same one? So in other words, when I do a lower third slide, should I put it next to slide? That honestly, that'd probably make the most sense and probably be the easiest way to keep track of what you're doing. So when it comes time to do those, put them in between all these here. And then you can bring down a little video clip. I'll demonstrate that real briefly. So I'll click on My Media, and I will go to, you don't have to give this a lot of thought. There's the guy standing there, that's fine. So I'm going to select, a few seconds, 5 seconds. I'm going to drag it down here next to slide. Okay. Now this slide, I use the black background. You can do that on a couple of them. So there I got that. Now what do I want to do? I want to put slide lower third. There it is right there. I put it on top of there. Okay. Double click on there and I just literally put slide. Now do you have to type lower third? No, you do not. It will be pretty obvious it's a lower third. Okay. And this could be 4 seconds. Doesn't have to be particularly long. A lot of them can be 4 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds. So then what do you see here? You see the slide. That's the centered one with a background. And then you go to
Mr. Tyler.
Now for these you can probably be a good idea to take the audio out of all of them. That'd be pretty annoying to have the audio popping up for all of them. Okay, that'd be just slide. And then here we got split. And I'm going to do one more here like this. I'll find Stu section here. Just grab a few seconds. Now going back to workflow, whoop, I can turn that off. Then I would look for a split lower third. But here's why I'm on the topic of workflow. This might be a good time to like say, well, how if I just go through here and do a whole bunch of these that are every other one? And that would be a good idea. So now this here, don't worry about like, if you got like the cheerleaders like I do, don't worry about if they're in the middle of something exciting or not. As long as it's just the cheerleaders, that's fine. Okay. What we don't want is where like it's 2 seconds of like the Stu section and 2 seconds of the next thing that comes along. So so you can just pick like another little section here. So if you do this like every other one, then you'll have them all lined up, ready to go when you go to put in your lower thirds. Does that make sense? That's where workflow comes in. Now, just because I gave you a couple examples there, I'm not saying you may not come up with a better workflow idea. So one way or the other, your goal right now is to do as many of the centered ones as you can today. They're going to mostly have backgrounds on them. You can do 1 or 2 with just the standard black. And then bring in a bunch of video clips and then do the corresponding lower third next to it. Now when you get to the lower part of the titles, there's quite a few lower thirds near the bottom that do not have a corresponding center. They're like the gradient white and the organic lower. And you always put the name of the title in there. It's all you got to put in for the title. Okay? Now when you get to these other ones here, lens flare and that, I mean if you want to give them a try, some of them can be done over background, some can be done over video clips. The Far, Far Away one we'll definitely do together, and the scrolling credits we'll do together. We'll do those tomorrow. So right now, plug away at these here. Do a good job, make it look good. And then all of them will have the name of the title on it. If they got extra lines, just leave it as add text here, whatever it says. So the goal is to demonstrate every single title. Now what you're also simultaneously doing is learning how every title works, how they look, how they work. So when the day comes you're doing another project and you don't have much time, you already got a pretty good idea what your options are, and you can easily go find whatever it is you want to use. Okay, so that's for the title section and to get the project started. So I'm going to end my